Okay, here we go. Part 2 of the candidate forum for the Board of Supervisors, Halifax County, Virginia election, sponsored by the Halifax County Chamber of Commerce. Picking up where we left off, we're about halfway through with my inconsequential commentary. And now I've got something cold to drink, not coffee. Have you ever tried these things? They have no sugar in them. God, they're good. And they have all different kinds of flavors, and they're $1 a bottle. I've recently discovered them. They're really good. Okay, and my interview earlier was excellent. I can't wait to post it, maybe tomorrow night. And here we go. Let's start this again. We are in the middle of the Q&A. Okay.
Question 5 is back to you, Mr. Gordon. From again, county administration and school board relations. The new high school is completed, but questions remain about the athletic facilities and elementary school needs. When revenue is identified and accounted for, should the board of supervisors dictate how the funds should be utilized, or should they elect the school board? And so you have 2 minutes. Sir.
Well, I'm going to start.
My understanding is that as funds for the school, who decides how to distribute the funds, the school board or the board of supervisors? I mean, isn't that just obviously the school board? Okay, let's see what they say.
I'm just echoing what Jeff Oak said. I think it's critical that we complete that project. I think the high school needs to be done. I've stated my position. I wasn't in favor of it. I understand that it is a whole lot better than I expected it to be. But now we're halfway there, and we need to finish the sports facilities. It's a little too late in the game for us to now sit and look at what it is we're going to do as alternates. If the money is there and the money is available, then I believe they should move ahead and they should complete the project. My understanding is that the money is there. In sitting down with the school board, when they gave the last briefing that I attended, they indicated that the money had been identified and they were looking to move ahead with the project. At that point in time, it appeared that the Board of Supervisors started revisiting the issue and asking why it is we weren't exploring other opportunities and other alternatives. I don't, for the life of me, understand why that is the case. The decision was made, the money was available, and they should move ahead and complete that project.
Thank you, sir. Well under time. Thank you very much. Let's move on to Mr. Oaks. You'll have 60 seconds to address the issue about the athletic facilities and elementary school needs. When the revenue is identified and accounted for, who should dictate how that's appropriated? You have 60 seconds.
I wish this closed captioning was better. Sorry.
It's under the control of the school board. The county board of supervisors has control over the overall budget. So from the appropriation side, the county could cut the school board off and not give them any more than what is the minimum amount needed to function through the school year. Ideally, as I said earlier, the county needs to let the money go, let it move forward in the project with the school facilities, the athletic facilities, and then anything that's left over can be used. That fund is generating almost $3 million a year in tax revenue, and there's no reason to encumber the process. That's a drawing card for Halifax County, having a decent facility for kids. And as we get new kids, we need more room.
Thank you. Understand. Appreciate it very much. Mr. Manel, sir, you have 60 seconds to address the issue.
Well, by law, the board of supervisors is responsible for allocating funds to the county. Now, as long as I've been on the board, I have been told that if there's money for the school board, that you allocate that money to them. We have always stood by that decision. We continue to stand by the decision. But if the money is not there, as we was told, you can't give them something that you don't have. But if the money's there, I am 100%, I would vote yes to make sure that they get that money. But for right now, we have been told the money may not be there. But if the money's there, I'm going to vote yes.
Thank you. Another time. Mr. Rowland, you.
Ringler.
Mr. Rowland, you have 60 seconds to address the question of funding for the athletic facilities, school and elementary school needs, and who should dictate how the funds should be utilized.
Contrary to what most people think, the 1% sales tax does not totally fund the high school. The construction project The 1% sales tax only pays about 63% of the debt service, while 37% is financed through the county general fund. And also, the 1% will never pay that $105 million. The Board of Supervisors has a responsibility to limit debt service to keep the county financially strong. However, they made a commitment to pay for a percentage of construction costs when the project was adopted and should honor that commitment. That remains a question of the 1% funds collected above projected amounts. I feel these funds should be looked at surplus on additional funds that may come from bond interest or savings during the construction project and be used by the school or what as they see fit.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Mr. Oates.
this is confusing me. I don't get it. Is somebody out there who can explain it to me maybe? Now I realize that they're talking about some excess money that came from middle school projects. I think they didn't have to pay as much, or there was interest or something. And I think that's what they're talking about, what that should be allocated as. So I don't understand what Mr. Purnell was saying about if the money's there, they'll get it. And then Mr. Roller saying the money's not there. Now, bear in mind, these are two current board members, so they should see eye to eye on whatever they're talking about. But that was a bit conflicting to me. I'm a little confused about this question.
This again is a question from budget, taxes, and fiscal management. The Board of Supervisors recently approved spending $50,000 for a forensic audit. Yet many citizens say they don't know what triggered it or what the county hopes to uncover. Should the full results of the audit be made public when it's completed? You'll have 2 minutes.
All right. They've ordered a forensic audit. First of all, let's look up and see what that is. Let's go to our friend ChatGPT. I'm assuming that that's like a financial record audit. What is a forensic audit in relation to Board of Supervisors? Okay, so ChatGPT, here's what it's telling us. A forensic audit is a detailed investigative type of financial audit that looks for evidence of fraud, misuse of public funds, corruption, conflicts of interest, or other financial misconduct within the operations overseen and approved by the board. Here's what it means in plain terms. A forensic audit is not a routine annual audit. See, I was thinking it was. It's a special investigation conducted when there are concerns or allegations of wrongdoing, such as misappropriation of county or taxpayer funds, improper contracting, or vendor payments. There's some boards in this county that need to do this. Nepotism or self-dealing. For example, a board member voting to fund a program that benefits from them personally or their employer. We just talked about this in part 1. Unauthorized or hidden expenditures, violations of procurement or ethics laws. So if there's complaints from citizens, employees, or watchdog groups, hey, do we have a watchdog group here? That's what we need, watchdog groups. Irregularities, state or financial investigators suspect misconduct, or some decisions raised or conflicts of interest. All right, and then it goes on further. I need to back up to this question so I have a better grasp of it.
Thank you, Mr. Roller, Mr. Roller, you have 60 seconds to address the question of talking about the Alley Facilities School.
Okay, I'm sorry I went too far back.
Dictate how the funds should be utilized.
So, and he said this, that, the
Also,
other.
the 1% will never pay.
Okay, we heard this. This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about forensic
Board of
audits.
Supervisors has a responsibility to limit debt service to keep the county financially strong. However, they made a commitment to pay for a percentage of construction costs.
Sorry.
When the project
More.
Failed an audit?
Up. Back.
Mr. Oates, this again is a question from budget, taxes, and fiscal management. The Board of Supervisors recently approved spending $50,000 for a forensic audit. Yet many citizens say they don't.
The Board of Supervisors recently approved $50,000 to pay for a forensic audit. Citizens say they don't know what. Go back just a hair again.
Mr. Oaks, this again is a question from budget.
Sorry, it's really hard for me to catch it.
The Board of Supervisors recently approved spending $50,000 for a forensic audit. Yet many
Citizens say they don't know what triggered it or what helped you.
Should the full results of the audit also, should the full results of the audit be made public when it's completed? You'll have 2 minutes, sir.
Definitely, the full results of the forensic audit should be made public. I call into question the rationale behind the forensic audit. The county budget is audited annually. To my knowledge, they have not failed an audit. Having lost the director of finance back in February and not replaced the director of finance through resources that the county has paid for, bought and paid for through VACO, they could have gotten an interim finance director to help them through the rough spots. Instead, we contracted with a lady at an exorbitant
Okay, this is the whole Morgan thing.
an hour, $175 an hour to do that job. Subsequently, we gave her both jobs at a salary of $25,500 a month to do both jobs. I'm currently waiting for a FOIA request from the same lady. But we need the results of the audit. Having a firm from Maryland do the audit, predominantly remotely, is bizarre to me.
I don't know why that would be bizarre.
To do a forensic audit, it's a hands-on procedure.
Is it?
And doing it through a computer is not going to deal with ledgers and receipts and
Oh,
the minutiae
okay, I
of
get it.
detail that go into a forensic audit. So I question the overall process, but I encourage everybody to pay attention when it hits the books in February, because it will be insightful.
90 seconds, you're well under time. Mr. Rennell, you have.
Pause. Okay, but he didn't answer what triggered it. I'm really curious to know that too after reading this. What triggers it? Did somebody request it? Did the state do it? Was it the Attorney General's office? This is really interesting, y'all. Okay, next.
60 seconds to address the issue. Come on, Michael. You have 60 seconds to address the issue of the $50,000 for the forensic audit and whether or not the full results should be made public or completed.
Well, let me just make this clear. If you have X number of dollars, especially millions of dollars, and if you lose $1.4 million and no one knows where that money is at, and then we were told later on, the Board of Supervisors was told later on, there are $5.4 million missing. You need an audit because we want to know, the constituents and the Board of Supervisors want to know where the money is at. So we have to do an audit. And let me say this, once the audit is completed, we want everybody to know where the money is or where the money is not. Now, for some of the folks that have left, people get different jobs and they move on. And to that point, I just want to say this. We did not dismiss most of those folks. Only one person was actually resigned. And once the audit is done, I think everybody needs to know where the money is.
Thank you. Right on time.
Mr. Robot.
Mr. Roller, you have 60
Mr. Robot. That captioning is funny. All right. What I took from that is that the county is either missing 1.4 or $5.6 million. And I think he's alluding that it has something to do with Scott Simpson, the former county administrator that they asked to resign. That's crazy. So didn't the chairman of the board just say this is the best board in history and they're missing millions of dollars? What am I missing here, you guys? Because that's what it sure sounded like here. When you have money missing, you want to know why. So Pinnell's sitting here saying that there's a ton of money missing, so they've ordered $50,000 forensic audit from an outfit in Maryland to figure out what happened to it. But the way he threw in the whole thing about, we only asked one person to resign, well, everybody knows that that was the county administrator. Unless I'm wrong now. If I say something wrong, somebody correct me. I have no issue with walking back something I say. But I do try to be very careful. Okay, let's move on to Mr. Roller.
seconds to address the issue of the forensic audit and whether or not the audit should be made public.
Of course it should be public.
I would like to first address the question of the 1.4 and 5.4 million of missing money. Those figures were just a budget figure. They were estimates for the upcoming year. There were no funds missing. It was made clear that funds were missing. Although the Board of Supervisors approved the $50,000 audit, it was not unanimous.
Hold up. These are two sitting board members right here. Both of them. Here, I'm trying to point. Pinnell and Roller. I did it backward. Roller and Pinnell. And one saying we have millions missing and one saying no, we don't. Do you oh my God, can you not see the dysfunction of this board? This is horrible. Well, oh, good gracious. All right. So we may or may not be missing millions of money, but we're paying $50,000 to find out. I don't know. But let's see what he says about, maybe he'll tell us why this audit's happening. Because it usually, according to ChatGPT, is mismanagement. But we're the best board in the history of Halifax County. I can't get past that.
I did not vote in favor of it. And should the full results of the audit be made public when completed? Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Yes,
All right, so he's saying he doesn't really know why and didn't vote for it. Now we're going, oh, this will be interesting. Let's see what Gordon has to say. He's got a smile on his face.
Yeah, thank you. Obviously, any sort of audit that is done with public money to see what is happening with public money should result in a public disclosure. We need to find out what is going on.
Yep.
What alarms me is, I don't care which side of this issue you sit on. If you sit on the side of the issue that says, well, those are just budgetary figures and we don't know, the money never was there, so it didn't happen. Then on the other side of the issue, you have people saying, well, we can't go ahead with the school because we don't know if the $6 million for the sports facility is there. How can we safely leave this county's administration in your hands if you cannot account for 1.4, 5 million in one area and 6 million in another area?
Yep.
Obviously, we have an issue. I think we need to get to the bottom of it, and hopefully the audit will be able to do that.
Okay, under time. Thank you very much. Move on to question number 7, and this will go to Mr. Pinnell. This is a question from leadership and accountability. Halifax City citizens often feel left out of decisions. What recommendations do you have to improve transparency and communication between the board and the public? Sir, you'll have 2 minutes.
I am so sorry to even, for anyone to even think of being left out. I have always responded to my constituents, and a lot of folks not even in my district that have called my house, spoke to my wife. I respond immediately to whatever they want me to respond to.
Bullshit. Sorry, 90-year-old church ladies, but that is a lie. As I said before, I have called and called and called and don't even get the courtesy to answer or call back and say, not interested, and hang up. That's the least you could have done. So don't tell me that. I'm very angry that you sit up there as a pastor and lie to the public. You do not call people back.
When I get home, she always tells me, sit down, someone from another place, district have called you, and one wants you to answer this now. So what I've always tried to do was be clear, transparent in everything I do on the board of supervisors, and I'm trying not to hide anything from them. So we have always, and certainly from my house, and certainly on the board of supervisors, we respond to every telephone call, we make home visits, so there's no hiding of anything. And I want to go back to the question about the money on the board of supervisors and the missing of the funds. Now, you may not have been in the same room that I was, Mr. Rowe, but I can remember asking this question twice. Where is the money? And I was told twice by the Miss Morgan, I was intern county administrator at that time, that it was $1.4 million missing, and then what came to be $5.5 million missing. So you may not have been in the room that night, sir, but I do remember that was a question, and that was the answer.
Maybe it was one of these backroom meetings they keep talking about. How can board members not know such unbelievably important pieces of information? Ugh.
I was in the room.
Mr. Roller, thank you, Mr. Pinnell. You're under time. Mr. Roller, you have 60 seconds to address the questions for you.
And that's in regards to transparency. Transparency is not only live stream or broadcasting public meetings, but also conducting the business of the county in an open public setting. The practice of decisions being made behind closed doors or excluding any elected supervisor should not be tolerated. Regarding improved communications, citizens should feel free to contact their supervisor to voice opinions to make them aware of problems being experienced or services that need improvements. It will take all supervisors and county staff being open-minded and responsive to citizens' comments and concerns. Communication is a two-way street, and listening is required to provide proper consideration and response. Thank you.
Thank you. Another time, Mr.
I want to add something here. If you noticed either on my videos or if you go to the Board of Supervisor meetings, that citizens will come up and ask questions and they just say, thank you, move on. They don't address anything. It's just, sometimes it's embarrassing, to be honest. One lady got up there and asked one time, she said, I've been on your committee of X, Y, and Z, and we haven't met in months, and I just came here tonight to ask you in the public forum, because no one will return my calls or whatever, what's going on with this committee? Are we even still a committee? Good God. That's really, really bad. It's embarrassing.
We have 60 seconds to address the issue of open communications.
Well, I think that communications between the general public and the Board of Supervisors is failing, and it's evidenced by the number of people who are upset with what's happening in our county and not understanding what is going on.
Country.
I've urged people on both sides of the issue to be more forthcoming, and if you believe that something was done wrong, then tell us what it was and let us know what is happening with it. The entire murky atmosphere surrounding the resignation of the previous county administrator has yet to be clarified by anyone.
Yep.
If we have questions, they need to be answered. There are legal frameworks for you to do that, and I think that the county Board of Supervisors needs to take a long hard look at themselves and figure out how they can do better in providing feedback to the community and listening to what the citizens of the community are concerned about.
And the citizens need to step up more.
Thank you, sir, on the time. We appreciate it. Mr. Oaks, you'll have 60 seconds to address the same issue, sir.
It's almost laughable to me that Mr. Pannell says that he answers phone calls, but I have yet to meet a constituent who says he's returned a phone call or
True.
answered the phone.
True.
His wife answered the phone, which he's called. However, transparency is very important to a good government. If you do everything behind closed doors, in executive session, in groups of 2 or 3, here and there in the back alley, you're creating your own conflict. You're making people distrustful of the process. And we need to get away from that. Another pet peeve of mine is the board agenda in public comments has a section that says, if you have an issue involving a pending public hearing or a past public hearing, you can't make a comment. How does that serve the community? How are you able to voice your opinion of an issue if you're not able to be at that meeting at night because you work second shift or you have kids at home? So we're disrespectful to the people who vote for us and elect us and pay the bills of the county.
Thank you, sir. Time. Sir, question.
And let me mention here too that we reported the name of the new county administrator before they even announced they had 18 applications and then down to 4 applications and then interviews. That was the result of a backdoor meeting. So come on, don't even go there.
And Mr. Williams will be addressed to you first about infrastructure, housing, and public safety. In light of the positive announcements of expansion by a local industry, which will lead to hundreds of new jobs, what's your vision for attracting and keeping young families and workers here in Halifax County? You have 2 minutes, sir.
We need to look at our housing supply and take actions that can enhance it. Areas for increased residential housing should be identified and promoted. The county's comprehensive plan needs to reflect these areas. We need to look at our local codes and see if increased density is an option. The Halifax County Service Authority needs to be involved planning for providing water and sewer. Incentives could be explored or local codes changed to make it easier or more cost-effective for builders. I also think another thing to keep moving in the area is expanded recreational opportunities such as the Evans Park development.
Edmund's part.
which would also be an asset. I'm always impressed with the existing park and the amount of use each time I happen to visit it. One of the things that people don't really, which is very important to me, is that is the rural culture of scenic byways that our county offers. Our hidden jewels. I really enjoy afternoon rides and leaf watching this time of year. Approximately 90% of our county is zoned A1, and although it all falls under the same codes and requirements, much of it is already residential. A1 zone land near our residential zones and A1 zone land that provide our scenic byways in more remote areas of the county are different and needs different zoning designation and protections. For example, an ARS, agricultural rural rustic zoning with larger lot size and increased housing setbacks, would help to preserve our scenic byways, or what I consider our hidden jewels. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Again, on your time. Mr. Gordon, you have 60 seconds to address the issue of additional expanding local housing opportunities and attracting and keeping in families in our community. So you have 60 seconds.
Thank you very much. I will try and keep this one short because it is a very complex issue and we don't need to dive down too many rabbit warrens on it. I think what the Board of Supervisors needs to do needs to identify what it is that we can do to make it easier for other people to take advantage of the opportunities that are presented in Halifax County. We know there is a housing shortage. What are we doing as the Board of Supervisors to incentivize people to solve that problem? Because we're not going to solve it purely with taxpayer money. We have to get people to continue to invest in this county. Our recreational facilities, that's something that we have to put effort into. We have to improve the quality of life for citizens within the county. For far too long, you look at people leaving the county because they say there's nothing for them to do. We have to turn that around and we have to put in the effort to make sure that people have recreational opportunities and they have housing opportunities as well. The more people we can get to work and live in Halifax, the better it is for all of us.
Thank you. Right at time. Very good. Mr. Oaks, you have 60 seconds to address the issue.
I'm afraid we've gotten so far behind the times in Halifax County in housing that we're going to have a difficult time catching up. Finding investors who are willing to put down the kind of capital that it would take to build housing units throughout the town and county is almost an insurmountable task. I don't know from a revenue side how we can get the money to build subsidized housing through the federal government. I don't know the best way to attack that, but if you have 1,000 people coming to Atachi and they have kids, wives, extended families, not only do you need housing, but you need childcare. You need a birthing center at the hospital so that they can have kids here in town. If not, you're going to lose everybody and their taxes to jurisdictions around us who have adequate housing and facilities. We're behind the 8 ball on this deal.
Right on time. Thank you very much. Mr. Bidell, going to be the last to get the last word on this subject. What do we do? We have 60 seconds.
So we do know that Hitachi and Experiment and all of these new people are coming. We do recognize there are 852 new jobs and we need housing for about 1,200 people. So it's not that we're behind the 8 ball. We are in the process of talking about how we are going to respond to that. We have been numerous talks about how we
know where millions of dollars are.
Recognize that Halifax now is a
I think it's a
town.
pinball.
And we recognize that by the wages are now at $25 per hour, if not more, offered paid vacation pay, college tuition, and then we kind of look for the housing. There needs new basketball courts. Halifax is growing and jobs are coming here. We have begun to attract bigger and better applicants. This is evidence in our recent hiring of our higher education director, and it's certainly evidence in the hiring of our new county administrator.
Thank you, sir. At time. All right. The question is, Mr. Gordon, should board committee assignments be made solely at the discretion of the elected chair, or should all members of the board have input? Sir, you'll have 2 minutes.
Huh?
Well, I think it's a fairly simple answer. If you're truly a board, then everybody should be participating in the decision-making progress.
Oh,
We
truly
didn't
on
elect a
board.
king to make decisions for the rest of the county. The board elected the chairman of the board. And they should all get together and figure out who it is that needs to be on the various subcommittees. I think that the dysfunction within the Board of Supervisors has gone on far too long. And we end up with a lot of people carrying the workload, other people who are not participating in committees for whatever reason. Clearly it's wrong and we need to do something about it. They should spread the workload and people should be more willing to listen to other people who may have some input that can help them along the way, help carry the load. I think that's something that the evidence is there for everybody to see. And it's not helping us as a community. I think that if a member of the Board of Supervisors is incapable of serving on a committee for whatever reason, we need to have more conversation about that so the voters can decide whether they want to elect that person in the future. And it's all part of that transparency and making sure that people understand.
20 committees we have. If you go on my website, I have listed all of them and who's on them. I'm still in the process of adding email contacts and stuff, and I think some of it's not updated because I'm really struggling to get information through the Freedom of Information Act from, different agencies in this county. But yeah, these committees don't meet. They don't make reports. At least they haven't in the last 2-3 months since I've been doing this. And I'm just shocked.
What is happening with the Board of Supervisors, and it's not something that is happening in a back room that nobody has visibility of. So that conversation loop and the feedback loop with the rest of the community needs to be enhanced and needs to be improved. And you can only do that by making sure that everybody is involved in the conversation, and we need to make sure that more of the Board of Supervisors are involved in all of the subcommittees as well.
Yep.
Well said another time. Mr. Oaks, you have 60 seconds to address the issue.
The current composition of the Board of Supervisors committees is in and of itself dysfunctional. When you have 1 or 2 people serving in almost every position as a chairman of a committee, you defeat the purpose of a committee to begin with. A committee should be composed of people who have strong knowledge of
expertise.
If you put somebody on finance, you want somebody that knows something about
Yep, that's
finance.
exactly right.
You don't want the average Joe off the street. If you put somebody on a school board committee, you need to have somebody that has some knowledge of the workings of the school.
Yep.
We have a committee assignment done by the chairman that leaves out the people, it doesn't play to the people's strengths that serve on the Board of Supervisors. So then you end up with not being productive in getting those committees, getting things accomplished within those committees.
That's time. Thank you very much. Mr. Mel, you have 60 seconds to address the meeting.
Thank you, Chairman. So the president appoints his own cabinet, and so does the governor. It is the privilege of the chair to appoint whoever he wants to serve on each board. When we start removing these privileges from the top of the chairman, we undermine his or her responsibilities. That's why you have a chairman to preside over the board. He or she selects the person for each cabinet that they want, for each committee that they need to serve on. So when you start doing that, you undermine his position. Board appointments should be made by the chair. Listen, I don't recall any objection raised after we have received the assignments. And if it is an objection, I have never heard of one. So why do you need a chair or a chairman if you serve his authority? So I'm going to continue to stick with it. If you become the chair, you have the right to pick your committee.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Roller, can you
Wasn't
speak to
really the question.
of, input on committees?
In accordance with Halifax County Board of Supervisors bylaws and rules and procedures, section 2.3.1, the chairman shall make appointments to standing committees of the Board of Supervisors. I will cast my vote for chairman to the supervisor I feel will do the best job moving our county forward in making committee assignments, setting meeting agendas, and leading the board. It would be wise for the chairman to make assignments that best utilize each member's expertise and experience while maintaining some continuity of the committees.
Yeah.
The chairman could also utilize input from the board members by allowing them to fill out an interest form with qualification in areas of interest. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. And final question of the evening comes to you, Mr. Goodell, and everyone will have a chance to address it. Do you believe that when a supervisor abstains from a vote, should that reason be stated? You have 2 minutes.
Well, when it comes to abstaining from a vote, I can remember since I've been on the board, I've done it 3 times. So if a board of supervisors member wants to abstain, he has a right to abstain. Robert Rules of Order has no directions for that. If you want to abstain, go ahead and abstain. It happens in Congress, it happens in the Senate, but if you want to explain the reason why you're abstaining, you should give that reason. So I see no reason why you should not abstain, because there are certain reasons that you should abstain if it's a conflict of interest. If that conflict of interest is noted, you should abstain from that vote. And if someone wants to ask, why did you abstain? You have the right to tell that person, and you should tell anyone who asks you, I'm abstaining for X number of reasons, and that's why I'm abstaining. So I have no problem with abstaining.
Thank you, sir. Under time.
All right, let me pause there for a minute. I think he was talking about Robert's Rules of Orders. Robert's Rule of Order that Congress uses. Does Robert's Rule of Order have anything to say about abstention votes? It put in there extension votes. Abstaining from votes. Votes. From votes. There we go. It got it that time. I use voice to text for everything, and it's hilarious some of the mistakes it makes. Searching Robert's Rules of Order. Yes. Well, here's another fact check. Under Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, often abbreviated NONR, there is guidance about abstaining from a vote and how it affects the outcome. Here are the key points. To abstain, it means refrain from voting. You don't say yes or no. In the usual case, abstentions are simply not counted in the yay or nay tally. They reduce the number of votes but are not counted in the denominator for the votes cast. For example, if 10 people vote and 3 abstain, then only 7 votes are cast, and the majority is a majority of those 7. However, if your bylaws or rules require a majority of all members present, then that makes it a little different. Implications to watch out for. Check your bylaws and rules of order, record abstentions, quorum versus voting, conflicts of interest and ethics. So practical advice for this scenario is to include in your meeting minutes abstentions that are being recorded. The chair might say we take a vote on the motion. Those in favor say A, those who say nay, and then he would ask, are there any abstentions? I don't want to read all this, but it is definitely guidance on exactly how to do abstentions in Robert's Rules of Order, which is what Mr. Purnell just quoted. Now, he said he's been on this board for 12 years and has only had 3 or 4 abstentions, but we talked about in the first part of this video, conflict of interest, if he is employed by someone that is got business going on through the Board of Supervisors, which would be the school board and budgeting. So that's a whole other story within itself. But there is guidance on this. Oh, go back. What'd I do here?
Mr. Roller, you have 60 seconds. Mr. Roller, you have 60 seconds. Okay.
Mr. Purnell is correct on the Robert's Rules of Order regarding giving reason for abstaining from voting. Is also not requiring a supervisor's bylaws and rules and procedures. But I do believe a person should give a reason when they abstain from voting. Thank you.
And thank
Of course
you
they
for
should.
the time. Mr. Wood, you have 60 seconds.
I celebrate the fact that everybody who's on the board has the opportunity to vote for or against an issue or to abstain if that is the way that they feel. I think that they should be more forthcoming in their reasons for doing a number of those things. But I do want to go back and address some other issues as well, and that is the appointment of people on committees. Yes, the chairman can do it, but just because you can, it doesn't mean that that should be your course of action. You have other people on the team that you can lean on. You have other people that you can use.
It's not a dictatorship.
So just because the rules say you can do something doesn't always mean that that is the thing that you should be doing. As far as the abstention goes, it goes for everything. Be more forthcoming with feedback and tell us why it is that you're making certain decisions. Because if you don't tell us why, we're all left in the dark, and that goes to the point that has been raised by other people, where the citizens feel that they're being disrespected because they're not getting answers.
Yep.
Thank you for under time. Mr. Roach, you have 60 seconds.
I think you should always give a reason when you abstain from a vote. If it's a conflict of interest because of financial interest, by all means, you let people know that. If it's a conflict of interest because you are paid by the school board, you abstain from voting on school funding. It's common sense. What it cuts down on is people saying, well, I wonder why he abstained. Wonder what's going on. Wonder what they're doing behind closed doors. It all creates this conspiracy theory of people doing crooked stuff in county government. You can stop it by telling the public why you abstain from voting. That's simple.
Or why you change your vote.
Thank you very much. We got 10 minutes. Excellent job, fellas. Closing remarks up next. Before we go any further, let me say a word of thanks to all of the candidates for your participation tonight. Thank you for standing for re-election. Thanks also to all who helped make this evening possible.
I think there's a final statement.
South Boston and of our Halifacts Chamber of Commerce, the Governmental Affairs Committee, the two Ashleys, Ashley Stevens and Ashley Bagby, and for all the volunteers who helped make this forum possible. Before I make further, the guy who no one even knows who he may, oh yeah, that's who knows, it's Kevin Smith. He worked overtime making sure all the technical stuff worked. I certainly appreciate his efforts. Well, with that said, we'll move on to closing remarks. And this time, we're first alphabetical order, because I said so. Mr. Older, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Nick. It's not going to take 2 minutes, but in conclusion, I would like to say that I am information driven and try to base decisions on logic. I prefer to give consideration to long-term effects or results when making decisions and shy away from short-term fixes. I welcome input and opinions on issues at hand and gather information and strive to make the best decision for all parties involved. I pledge, if re-elected, I pledge to be prepared, accessible, and will do my best to represent all citizens of Halifax County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Older. We appreciate your attendance tonight. And Mr. Bell, thank you for joining us. You have 2 minutes for closing remarks.
Thank you, Chairman. Voters have seen my work for the past 12 years, my character, my candor, my commitment to Halifax County. I have proven myself for the past 12 years that I am an asset as a Board of Supervisor member. Let me just say this, go back to the polls again, sign out, Oak Level, Beaver, re-elect me again. Martin Luther King says this, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, continue moving. So you've seen my work, and I want you to go back to the polls November the 4th and re-elect me again to serve as your district supervisor. And my opponent, as you see, you already know his record. And he's already talked about crooked dealings and going behind closed doors and doing things. He did that as a sheriff, and if you get on the Board of Supervisor, he can do that as a Board of Supervisor. So go back to the polls. Re-elect somebody that cares, somebody that you can trust. Trust Hubert Pennell. Hubert W.H. Pennell.
I would never trust you with anything, Mr. Pennell.
Mr. Bell, thank you again for joining us tonight. Mr. Oaks, you have 2 minutes for closing remarks.
Halifax County is in a crisis of leadership.
Yeah.
My opponent brags about his record. I served 12 years. I was elected 3 times for 3 terms as sheriff. I've observed the functioning, the lack thereof, of the Board of Supervisors over the last 6 months. I've been embarrassed at times. I've been ashamed at times. We don't have an oligarchy. A favorite word of some of my opponents, oligarchy. An oligarchy is when one man leads the movement of county government through committee assignments, through dismissal of employees.
I got to pause there for a minute. Wrong use of oligarchy. Oligarchy is the extremely wealthy taking over and making it more of a corporate government. But I get what he's saying. But the proper term would be autocracy, dictatorship, tyrant. I think that's what he's meaning. And that is as it appears. So, sorry to interrupt.
Through criticism of employees to the point that they resign from their positions. We've lost 5 people in county administration in the last 8 months. What is that reflective of? That they took another job? No, it's reflective in poor leadership. And when we have a group of people that gang up on everything in sight and they put their will on the people and on the community as a disservice to the community, they need to be replaced. And we need to work on that. If elected, I promise the county that I will work for everybody in the county. The tower that's coming up at Thompson Curve, we already have 2 towers in our district that have no antennas on them whatsoever. So we've got problems that need to be addressed. And having this man continue in his service to the community as a supervisor is disgraceful. We need to do something different. We need to do better, and I can do that job given the chance. I ask for your vote on November 4th. I humbly ask for your vote. Thank you.
You just bless us.
He said disgraceful, not disgusting.
Thank you.
Bad caption.
We appreciate that. Ms. Gordon, you have the first word. Well, that's word.
Not my camera work.
Whenever your microphone is on, it's providing feedback over. Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to close this out tonight. I think what everybody has seen, particularly in the social media sphere, is a lot of people want to decide to put me into a camp. I'm either with this group or they're with that group. I'm not with anybody. I'm going to quote a friend of mine, who some of you would know, and he unsuccessfully ran for the Board of Supervisors, so hopefully it doesn't doom me to the same fate. But his point was, as Donnie Ellington, he said, I am a voice, I am not an echo. And I will continue to be a voice, and I will not be an echo for anybody else. I will give you my careful and considered opinion of whatever it is that you bring in front of me. Even when there are issues that I feel trigger a response within me, I've at least learned through my life that you need to look at those and you need to take very careful consideration of all of the facts before you decide to make a decision. My life experience, I think, puts me in a great position to be able to do that. I've unfortunately had to make life-saving and life-ending decisions around the world. I understand how serious it is. I understand that we have serious business in this county and we need to get on with doing that. I will not be joining any party to struggle against another party. I will continue to be an independent voice. If you like my ideas and you like the vision that I have for the county, then please get out on November 4th and vote for me. I'm asking for your support, and I will continue to fight for the residents of my district and the county at large. And thank you very much, everyone. And one last point, if I've offended anybody, you all need to get a thick skin. This is not what this game is about. You have to take some criticism, and it is all meant to ensure that we all get better and we move to a better place. So thank you very much for your time.
Sir, I'm time. Thank you. And please, a round of applause for all our candidates.
There's probably an end statement or whatever. So let me fix this back here. So what do you guys think of all that? That's just, I mean, again, there's some good things brought up as far as, all right, I'm going to move. Let's see if this works. I did it. I'm getting so much better at this editing and for an old person like me. Anyway, yeah, so, yeah. You could tell I was getting a little anxious, or I don't want to use the word emotional, but I was getting a little hot-collared about some of that because that just was so unnecessary, so unbecoming of a professional. But you can't take the bait to something like that. But so, in looking at this, this is probably your final opportunity to look at these local candidates. Once again, let's go through them just for the record. We have District 1, which is Pete Riddle, who is not running. He will be running in 2027. He represents District 1. District 2 is Larry Roller, who you just heard speak, and running against him is James Dixon, and we've not been able to get him for an interview or a forum, so we don't have any ear to what he has to offer. Then you have District 3, which is Hubert Pinnell and Jeff Oakes, both of whom you just saw within this candidate forum. There's some very extensive interviews with Mr. Oakes that you can see on our page or on our YouTube channel, which is better. Then we have Dennis Witt, who is not running. He's District 4, and he runs in 2027. Robbie Smart is District 5. He runs in 2027. Brandon Stanley is District 6, but he has dropped out. And there are 3 candidates for District 6. The write-in, Daryl Malone, whose interview is on my site. James Gordon, who was at this candidate forum and has done 2 interviews with me, and Monty Thompson, who has done 1 interview with me. So you can view those and weigh up your decision. All right, so that's everybody running the short and skinny of it. When I do my Friday night weekly wrap-up, I'm going to endorse candidates, and I'm going to share some interactions I've had with them and some thoughts that lead me to why I would endorse certain candidates for these positions. So anyway, that's Friday night. We got a couple of interviews coming up over the next couple of days. These things like this kind of throw my whole schedule off. Tonight I'm supposed to do my normal podcast, but because I'm issuing 2 lengthy, things about this meeting today, I'm probably not going to do tonight, but I will have an interview for you tomorrow, and I'll have the wrap up Friday, and I have another interview Saturday that will already be in the can. So there you go. There you have it. That's what's happening. Tuesday is the election. You can still go and vote at Mary Bethune this week. You can still do drive-up voting. Go to the website, www.halifaxoasis.com, and all the election information there, the phone numbers to call, where it's at, what district you're in, where to find out where to vote, everything is on this website, as well as some other cool things of interest. So check it out. I add to it every single week. I have new things up. I've got some really good things coming up. And let's get out there and vote. And you have so much information. This is a real wealth of information for a local election for you to listen and, figure out who you want to vote for and who you think's best for your district. I think most of them are really just, I don't know, kind of obvious, but you've got to pay attention. You got to listen. You got to research. Ask around, whatever. I'm trying so hard not to be biased, but I'm telling you, when you get me angry, it's hard not to be. So that's it. I'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you for all your support, and